All right. Hello, everyone. So, as probably all of you should know, except maybe Nova, I like to do prediction videos for each season before, well, supposed to be before the game even begins. This time I'm actually doing it before the season starts because I'm amazing. And for this video, I'm not going to have all the challenges prepared, partly because I didn't prepare all of them as usual. Um, but it kind of doesn't matter. Sometimes you all surprise me by either doing really good or really bad in a challenge that I didn't expect. So I think as long as I know generally what type of challenge it is, I think the cat is biting me. He's an orange cat and he's very aggressive. Isn't that right, Mr. D? Okay. His name is Sunny D, and he's a little rat. Um, so yeah, we're going to do the prediction video. If you don't know or don't remember, I'm just going to guess some of the storylines that we may see throughout the season. Um, Maybe I'll give some insight as to why I chose a certain team or why I formatted a twist a certain way or what have you. Kind of give like that production insight. And then whatever I make as my top four during this video, that is the top four I'm going to do for the draft. So you all will not know who I drafted until this video comes out. So if I do win the draft, my row, well, no matter what, my row is going to be blacked out when I post the draft. So no one's going to know who my top four is except for me. And I think that's it. Um, at least with this video, you all can see that I'm keeping things at the way they were. I'm not moving around when Turbulence Week happens. I'm not doing anything shady. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm using this website. I don't know if I've used this in a video yet. It's called Supatier, Supatier. I love this website. It is so much better than Tier List Maker or whatever the really popular one is. And it's so much better. If you haven't used this, I would recommend it. It doesn't have a lot of templates on it. A lot of people don't seem to know about this one, but I think it's a really underrated tier list maker, and I would recommend it. So, with that being said, I want to talk about the teams real quick. So, first up, we have Aisha and Sully, which I did check. It is Aisha, not like Aisha or something. I know in the Superstars 2 video, I was a little bit unsure. It's Aisha. So, with this team, and I'm probably going to say this during the cast reveal because it's not that important, and I think it's a little interesting. I want to reveal the teams in order of how spicy I think the rivalry is. So first up is Aisha Sully. I wouldn't have had this first originally, but Aisha and I were talking, and she was mentioning people who she would want to see, and she mentioned Ash, Kira, and Sully. And I had said something like, see, you told me to bring you back for rivals with these people, but you're telling me that they're your friends and you want to see them. And I'm not going to say like she admitted it because that's so dramatic, but she had just said, well, yeah, I just want an excuse to play with them again. So I was a little bit bummed out that I'm probably not going to put Aisha through hell. And I want that, it's what she deserves. But with this casting process, I did have to resort to some backups. These were not the original 8 teams I had in mind. In fact, it was going to be 7 teams at first. But as people started to drop out, and I realized that I accidentally was telling people the wrong date, because I was telling people that the season would end on May 24th, I think is what I was telling people. Or whatever I told you all originally, that was not the correct date when I first introduced it. It was supposed to be May 19th for a 14-person cast, but then I realized I told everyone the time frame that it would take for a 16-person cast, so I figured, oh, I'll just add an extra team on there. I mean, it's Rivals. I don't know why I did that, because I was already struggling to get 14 together. Why did I think I could do 16? But whatevs. So I put Aisha and Sully together because I couldn't think of a partner for Lunar. It was actually Lunar's fault, because as many times as he's played and done well, and, you know, kind of had some friendly rivalries with people, it was hard to find someone for him. I don't know why. And I didn't want to repeat any teams that had already been done before in the Gauntlet. In saying that, Lynn and Joey, they were one of the original 7 teams, because I just knew in my heart that they would target each other if there was an Inferno pass up for grabs. But then I was thinking about it, and I was looking at the other teams, specifically Ash and Kira, who were another one of the original 7 teams. And as hilarious as I thought it would be to have Ash and Kira together to see if Kira would stab Ash in the back once again for an Inferno pass at that, I didn't really think that would happen. I thought maybe Ash would do that to Kira, but not early on. And a big part of putting these teams together was finding people who I thought would target each other in the pre-merge, because by the merge, you know, everyone's targeting each other. That I was not worried about. A big part of the Rivals twist was, how do I spice up the pre-merge and capitalize off of the fact that I'm putting people with someone they don't like? Because in the normal format, if you're with someone you don't like, you just don't work with them. But you can't really do anything about it. I mean, you could get another pilot to nominate them, but that's not as juicy. That's not going to have stakes or tension to it. But if you are the one to nominate your partner because you would get something out of it and you already don't trust them, that's perfect. I mean, that's drama. And I didn't... It's not that I couldn't think of anything better, but I didn't really want to do anything huge for this season. I mean, the cast itself is already huge. In that there's... I mean, to be honest with you, this could easily be a Superstars cast. In fact, fun fact, I did consider calling this Superstars 3, because in my personal opinion, this is pretty much a Superstars cast. I mean, it reminds me a lot of Superstars 2, not Superstars 1. Superstars 1, I firmly believe there was 0 filler. All 16 of those people were immense, strong, power players from that generation. Whereas with Superstars 2, there were a couple people who had to be backups. I mean, Aisha and Lynn didn't even play in either of the qualifying seasons, which is not to say that they were bad. I mean, it's Aisha and Lynn. If I had a top 16 best to ever do it, they'd both be there. But, you know, they were replacements for people who dropped, because I couldn't get my original cast. So this cast reminds me of the Superstars 2 cast, where there's a few people who are kind of like the outliers in that they're not as insanely strong as the rest of the cast, but it's a damn good cast. And when I mention these people who are kind of the outliers, Juniper is one of them. Even though I think Juniper was doing amazing on All-Stars 3, and I would have been so happy to see them win. I was such a Juniper apologist that season. There's Null, who has never had a good showing, but is very analytical when he watches seasons, and I mean, he was on the short list for All-Stars 5, so had I not done Flop Stars, there's a chance we could have seen him on All-Stars as a redemption-type character. I'm not going to say Chris. I thought about it, but I do stand by that Chris is a very good player, if not very messy. But that's what would get him on Superstars. You need people who are not afraid to just make a big move and say, you know, fuck everybody else, I'm going to do what's best for my game, which is why I'm not going to put Chris in this group. My other two, Nova, she's never been on All-Stars. I couldn't get her back for 3, and I couldn't get her back for any other time. So we've never seen her play with an All-Stars cast, and especially because her previous season was season 10, and that was the final season where it was just grind comp after grind comp, so we've never even seen her play like the new Gauntlet, you know, the new way I host. So one could argue that maybe she is going to flop. I personally think she's only going to get better. I mean, she was already a force to be reckoned with on season 10, and I think now that she doesn't have to do grind comms, I actually could see Nova snatching a win, but we'll get there. So the reason why I'm like iffy on Nova is just we've never seen her play on All-Stars. Because some people are really good on their original season, then they get to All-Stars and they choke, or you find out that up against a good cast, they're really not that good. They have to be up against a bad set of players to run circles around them. I don't have any examples in mind, but I'm sure you all can at least think of one person who you played on All-Stars with for any org that fit that description. And then Cass is my last one. Cass is kind of what I was saying about Chris, in that Cass does not care. She will put up who she needs to put up, or she will call out who she needs to call out. And that's, I mean, I put her on All-Stars 1 for a reason, and I think that was still a great decision. I loved Cass in her prime. Season 7 was not prime Cass. I was not thrilled. But Cass is all, the reason why I have Cass in this category, not Chris, is simply because Chris can win things. I don't think Cass has any wins. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of any. And she's kind of missing that social component that Chris has. Chris, he will start drama, but he can also form really good bonds. Cass just doesn't have that. And maybe what the difference is that... Sorry, let me try that sentence again. I'm so sorry. The difference is that Chris can make himself useful to other people, whereas Cass, she can, but she doesn't do it as consistently as Chris does. You know, Chris is a good shield. He's a reliable ally if you're allied with him. Whereas Cass, it's like she's, you know, not doing so well in the comps, really does not connect with the entirety of the cast, whereas Chris can make good social bonds. So I feel like Chris has the social component more than Cass does. And that's why I would put Cass in this group. And also, we've just never seen Cass do well. I think Season 3 was her best showing, and even then, she wasn't really in a winning position. She was just... The cast... That was a top-heavy cast, Season 3. Like, the pre-merge boots sucked, but the merge, at least I think Cass was in the merge. I feel confident about that. The merge was really strong. Oh yeah, Cass had to have made merge, because back then you had to make merge to be on All-Stars. So yeah, that's just my analysis of the cast. On this cast, we have 8 winners, 8 non-winners, which total accident, wasn't in the cards at all. But I think that's really fun. So let's go back to Aisha and Sully, like I said I was going to do. I have them together because Aisha tried to get Sully out a couple times on Superstars 2. This is more of a friendly rivalry. Oh yeah, I'll do like team analyses. I don't see them really getting into it. I do see Sully side-eyeing Aisha. You know, not in a way of like, oh, I know you're going to blindside me, so I have to blindside you first. Probably just, I'm going to make peace with her, but I need to be ready in case she flips on me. Which is also why they're the first team. Out of all these teams, I feel like they're one of the least likely to turn on each other. I might switch them for Lynn and Lunar. In fact, I probably will do that. I'm gonna put Lynn and Lunar first, because I really do not see them turning on each other. Oh my god, I'm so sorry if you can hear my washer. I'm gonna pause the video. Alright, I'm back. I hope you can't hear the washer anymore, I'm sorry. So I was talking about how I'm probably going to put Lynn and Lunar as the first team because I just don't see them turning on each other. I didn't even want this to be a team. I really wanted Lynn and Joey, but I had that same fear that they were going to play nice, even though I do think Lynn and Joey would have been a fun team. I've already done that team before, just like I've already done Lunar and Joey, and Lynn and Lunar have never been on a team together. So that's part of the reason why I felt justified. I did have Lunar with Sully at one point because I could see a friendly, you know, just rivalry between them. You know, Lunar and Sully, it was their game to lose on season 13 and Lunar came out on top. But I don't know, I didn't really see any potential for them to turn on each other. I really did just see them comping out because they're both really good at comps. So I didn't see the potential there. So that's a good segue for Lynn and Lunar. I really don't see them turning on each other. But in the same token, I could see Lynn sacrificing Lunar. Joey, I think she would keep around A, as a shield, and B, because he's got a very good strategic mind. I could see Lynn turning on Lunar because In my personal opinion, Joey is better at the social game than Lunar. So I could see Lynn making connections with other people on the cast, not including Lunar, and then just, what are you eating? Badass cat. I'm sorry. I could see I could see her ditching Lunar for allies who are a bit more connected in the game and just getting rid of him because he did screw her over on All Stars 1. I mean, I'm not saying that this pairing is unjustifiable, I just don't think they're going to be as fun as the other teams, which is why I'm actually going to have them be the first team revealed, because I do think Aisha and Sully have the potential of turning on each other. Lynn and Lunar, I mean, that really is just a coin toss, and I don't even see it. Which sucks, because, and I do want to say to Lynn, Lunar, and Joey, I really didn't. I mean, aside from Lynn and Joey, because that would have just been really, really funny. Like, come on, let's be honest with ourselves. I don't want your journeys in this org to be solely defined by each other. And I know that's so, like, come on, like, really, that you're... I don't know how to describe it. It's like that meme, like, the friend that's too woke. Obviously, I'm not being woke here, but it's that same principle of... it's not that deep. That's why I mean to say. I'm the friend that's making it too deep. But in a way, I feel like it does a disservice to the three of you, and Aisha, but, you know, we're not talking about her right now. I don't want you all to think that I only see you as this trio, or quartet if you include Aisha. So I really want to give you partners that were not in that quartet. I did not want to put the four of you together in any combination, but I was willing to do Lynn and Joey because I thought that that'd be really messy, because I 1000% see them turning on each other. But just from the way the casting went, this was how the cookie crumbled. I saw a lot of potential with Joey and Kira because they really were going at it on All Stars 4. I loved the friendly animosity between them. And I do see more potential for them turning on each other than Lynn and Lunar. However, I will say this. There is a slight chance that between me making this video and the season happening, that I swap Lunar and Joey. It just depends on what storyline I want to see more. It comes down to Joey, actually. Because I feel if I put Joey with Lynn, that is a better rivalry for Lynn. And having him... okay, I say it was about Joey. A lot of it was about Lunar, too. You know, where do I put Lunar to give him the best rivalry? Which is not to say that Lunar sucks or anything. I'm not saying anything bad about him. But it was shockingly hard to think of a rival for him. At least that I could cast, because, you know, a lot of the people that I could put with him, they played from season 22 to 25. So I was kind of at an impasse. And I cast him originally to be with Sully, and then I changed my mind on that, and it was just a whole lot. We can all blame Nova for that, because it really was because of her that I had to do a bunch of last-minute castings and asking who was interested, and then she did change her mind, and then I had to deal with that, now having her on the cast. So, I don't know, I'm still really torn, because a part of me does truly believe that Lynn and Joey being a team together would be the spiciest thing for the season. And I could see Lunar and Kira maybe not vibing with each other. I mean, I think it was Kira, I think, that got Lunar out on All Stars 4. And the only reason I remember that is because there was an award for it. I think it was for Worst Move or Biggest Blunder. It was like Lunar revealing to Kira what a snake he is. So I don't know, I'm still really, really torn. However, both Lunar and Joey are good at comps, so I don't think it'll impact the season too much. But just know that there is a possibility that I switch Lunar and Joey. Just for the sake of storyline, because I think that would make me feel a little better, Lynn and Joey, simply because they are rivals. First there was All Stars 1, where Joey completely screwed over Lynn. And then on Superstars 1, Lynn got her lick back and got Joey out. You know what? I'm gonna do it. As much as I didn't want to repeat the Lynn-Joey team, I feel in my heart of hearts that I want... Because if this is either of their last season, I would want there to be a storyline between Lynn and Joey. They are one of my favorite duos. They're two of my favorite players, period. And there's still storyline with Lunar and Kira. It's just it's not as good as Joey and Kira. However, there's a bunch of teams like that on this season. Also, excuse me 1 second, I have to turn my AC on. All right, I'm back. Even though that was basically no time at all for you guys. So, I think I'm gonna do it. My gut has been telling me that breaking up Lynn and Joey is gonna be a mistake. And I feel that in the spirit of Rivals, they were one of the original 7 teams. And as much as I don't think Lunar and Kira would be as good of a team as Joey and Kira, in terms of the rivalry, let me make that very, very clear. This is strictly about the rivalry. I feel that Lynn and Joey, who knows when I'll get them together again. And I do really want one of them to turn on each other. Even though I do think Joey and Kira would turn on each other, I think if I switch Joey and Lunar, both of those teams are likely to turn on each other. As opposed to the way I have it now, I think it's very unlikely that we'll see Lynn and Lunar turn on each other. I know I gave a scenario where I think that could happen. I do not think that's very likely. So, I'm gonna swap. Oh, sorry if I'm breathing heavy. I have gained so much weight since being on sertraline, which is an anti-anxiety medication, and I'm rotund now. So, if you hear me breathe a lot, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm very out of shape. Blame my boyfriend for not encouraging me to go to the gym. So, fuck Ben. Oh god, my cat sees something. I'm like praying it's not another spider. Okay, well, with Lynn and Joey, I'll reveal them later in the cast. Cast reveal, excuse me. So, now with Lynn and Joey, I do feel more comfortable with that pairing. As much as I don't want Lynn's journey to be defined by Joey, because Joey has had his own journey without Lynn, even though Lynn has played without Joey. I'll make my point, don't worry. Lynn's not gonna care. Lynn's probably like, why is he acting like this? I love Joey. I really don't want you to think that you're just a pawn in Joey's story. You two are like water and oil. Maybe that's not the perfect analogy, but you two are just such a good team for this very specific season. And I think I need to trust my gut in that you two have to be together, and just Kira will go with Lunar. Because there's other, like I said, there's other teams on this season that you could make, like Aisha and Andre. That was a potential replacement for Nova. There is Ash and Kira, some combination of Aisha, Ash, and Kira. There's Yeza and Chris. There's Yeza versus everyone, But I think I need to go with who I think will turn on each other, and I do think that Lynn and Joey would probably do that. But I don't know. Because I could also just see them being buddy-buddy, because who's Joey gonna work with outside of the Instavets? Like, maybe he won't turn on Lynn, but I don't really see a world. Like, I don't... Well, he would work with Nova, but it's not like Nova has any connections. The one connection Nova has is the guy who doesn't want to see her. So, I don't know. I'm conflicted. It's really hard to make the season because you don't know how people are going to react. Because there have been times where on an All-Star... Also, I'm so sorry that I've been rambling. There have been times on All-Stars where I was so convinced that 2 people were going to have beef from their previous season. And then they said, you know what? Let's kiss and make up. Let's just, let's call a truce. We don't even have to be allies. Let's just call a truce. We're not going to bring that baggage onto this season. And that's why I was so conflicted about what to do with Joey and Lynn. I didn't know how they would behave. So we'll see, There's a chance I could change my mind again and put Joey and Kira together, because I don't think they would necessarily be allies in the pre-merge, whereas I think Joey and Lynn probably would. But I don't know, it could be a situation where they don't target each other until the merge, which is probably more likely, to be completely honest with you. You know what? I'm going to change that back. I'm gonna give Lunar back to Lynn. Because that was my reasoning before, is that I think Joey and Kira are more likely to target each other in the pre-merge than Joey and Lynn. I think Joey and Lynn would be more likely to gun each other down early merge, and I think Lynn would probably be more likely to just dump Lunar if she feels that he's dead weight. And it's not like Lunar gave me the indication he would be inactive on the season, but he doesn't have that fire. At least in my opinion. He doesn't have that same fire that he did before. So I could definitely see a world where he's just not super reliable to her, and she just kicks him to the curb because she has other connections. She has Sully, but I don't know. They weren't BFFs on Superstars either. But she has Aisha, she has DJ. Probably will have Cass, Juniper, Ash. Even I don't know. I don't. I feel like she's more likely to dump Lunar than her and Joey are to target each other, because then that would break up the Instavets. And I do see the four of them crowding around each other in the pre-merge, because that's an instant four-person alliance, and that's three different teams represented within the alliance. So I think I'm going to go with this for the sake of ensuring that all the teams could nominate their partner. Ash and Juniper, I have them third because even though they are a rivalry that makes sense, given the context of All Stars 3, I don't fully see them targeting each other. I don't think Ash would be that scared of Juniper, and Juniper does not remember Ash. Juniper doesn't remember the Gauntlet. Juniper probably doesn't even know that this wasn't called the Gauntlet when they played. I don't even know if Juniper knows that they're a winner, to be honest with you. Which, I'm not going to say I'm hurt by that, but I am sad because Juniper was one of my favorites on All Stars 3. Even though I have their win ranked low, that's because of the season, not because of Juniper. So I'm hoping I can spark Juniper's memory with that iconic nomination statement from Ash. I think that's a good basis for the rivalry, because I was looking up the challenge rivals, and some of them were like, this person nominated the other for elimination and then they got eliminated, and that makes them rivals. So like, okay, it doesn't have to, for a good rivals, it doesn't have to be absolute vitriol for the other person. It can just be they did something shady. And Juniper was shady towards Ash on All Stars 3 in the confessional. So I feel like that balances it out. Ash totally blindsided Juniper, and then Juniper was talking trash in the confessional. That to me is a good enough rivalry, because I didn't trust that Ash and Kira would be friends. Would be enemies, because in their preseason confessionals, they both said that they hope they can bury the hatchet with the other. Why would I put them together then? As funny as it would be to tempt Kira into betraying Ash once again, one thing I was thinking about is not each person's partner, but the other people on the cast. And you all just saw it with the Lynn, Lunar, Joey, Kira thing. Do they have other allies in the cast that they could hitch their wagon to and then dump their partner? With Lynn Lunar, I think Lynn does have other people, and Lunar has other people. I don't think he will, but he could dump Lynn if he wanted to. And with Ash and Kira, I think they would stick by each other. I really honestly do think they're going to work very closely. So why not give them a partner that might actually try to cut them down? And I think Juniper's fine for that. I think once Juniper is reminded of what Ash did, I could see them being like, oh crap, I gotta watch this girl. Joey, Kira, we already talked about. They both saw each other as very big threats on All Stars 4. They were going at it for a while. Kind of like Aisha and Sully, but I think, even though I think Joey and Kira are going to be very friendly towards the other, they're probably even going to have a good laugh about All Stars 4. Joey, and it's actually because of him that I was reminded, Joey very specifically said, I really don't want to see Kira because of All Stars 4. In a game sense. I mean, Kira's going to read the preseason confessionals probably. But, he didn't say it in a bad way, but he was like, we were rivals in All Stars 4. Next up, we have Null and Yeza. How could I not? I mean, now full T, had Violet not been on Blood vs. Water 2, it would have been Violet and Yeza. Because I really liked the idea of rivals who had not played together. And even though Null and Yeza did play together on Flop Stars, I didn't really feel like I got anything out of that. And maybe that's just because Null was very low-key on that season. I don't know what it was, but I didn't really see that fire between them. So maybe putting them together on this season will help. And also, it's just, Null has not played with, I think, anyone here except for Yeza. So it's just nice to have someone new in the mix, because a lot of these people have played together. I was kind of doing some data of like overlapping seasons just to make sure that there wasn't any I wasn't bringing like 10 people from the same season, which I think Superstars 2 is the most represented right now. It's either that, Superstars 1, or All Stars 4, which makes sense. Those were 3 of the best casts I've ever put together, especially All Stars 4. That one really sticks out to me. So I'm fine with this pairing. I'm not mad that I couldn't get Violet and Yeza together, because I do think Yeza is going to be pissed when she sees Null. And Null knows that Yeza is a threat. I mean, Yeza was player of the season on Flop Stars, and Null knows that. So, cool. Next up, same era, Chris and Vaughn. I mean, whew, they were mortal damn enemies on All Stars 5. And Vaughn was the original partner for Chris. This was one of the original 7. I was conflicted because I knew it had to be Chris and then one of the Shane Vaughn duo. And I ended up going with Vaughn because in their confessionals, both Chris and Vaughn at one point, I think in the same week, ranked each other as their least trusted person, which to me is like, yup, okay. That is it right there. That is who's going to make the most drama. Now, Shane ended up declining anyways because I thought Vaughn was ghosting me. But this is such a fabulous duo. And what Chris said about Shane and Vaughn in the preseason confessional was crazy. That is what I want from Rivals. That vitriol for the other person, which is why Chris and Vaughn are in the final 3 teams, because that's hatred. That is hatred they have for each other. Now we have Andre and Nova. If there was one team on this season that I was the most excited for, it would be them. I mean, it could be Chris and Vaughn or DJ and Cass. Those are my 3 favorite teams. Now, if I had Lynn and Joey together, that would probably be up there with them. But Andre and Nova, wow, they do not fuck with each other. So I'm very excited about that. I can't believe I was able to pull this one off. When I didn't think I was going to get Nova, I did try for Brandon, I tried for Aisha, and fucking Brandon accepted like 30 minutes after I got Nova to accept. And I messaged Brandon like a week and a half prior to that. I even messaged him on TikTok. And then he didn't respond until right after Nova said yes. Because Brandon and Andre did not fuck with each other. And Aisha and Andre did not fuck with each other. So that's kind of how Aisha got. And I think Sully also had a small tiff with Andre, but Sully was going to go with Lunar, yada, yada, yada. So that's kind of how this cast came to be. It was all about who do I put with Andre and Lunar. Fun fact. So now that I've got Andre and Nova, I expect them to turn on each other immediately. And it really helped with Nova because she really synergized with the fact that Joey is there, because it helps her break into the group. Null has spectated, I think, every season he could since he's played, which would only be, no, I think 4 of the people here, because Aisha and then Yeza Chris Vaughn. I don't think there's anyone else that he would have spectated. But he would know what kind of legacies these people carry. Null is very much about the data. He's like a news Iridium without the good gameplay. And Null at least has an in that he is following the season so closely, but especially with Aisha. Nova would have had no one if Joey wasn't here, because I don't even know if she knows Lunar, Lin, and Aisha, because she only ever mentions Joey when we talk. So having her have that connection to him allows her to be a little integrated into the gameplay, because I do see them being a final 2. And I think if Joey's in an alliance, he'll try to get Nova in it too. And it gives Nova a fighting chance, because in a perfect world, most of the people on the season would not have played with each other. But everyone has come back so many times, and not everyone said yes. Like, Benji and Matt, I tried to get that to happen, because not only do you get the rivalry with Benji Matt connects to the Superstars 1 era, and Benji connects to Yeza and all the other All-Stars 5 people. So it was really about bridging the gap and allowing the cast to not just stick with the people from their specific season or group of seasons. They have a way to interact with the rest of the cast. So I'm very excited that Nova's here. And then, of course, we have DJ and Cass. This was a team that was supposed to happen on All-Stars 1, but DJ, he called my bluff. He said, if you put me on a team with Cass, I'm going to quit the first week. I do not want to play with her. And I couldn't take that chance. I thought that was going to be my final season, and DJ was and still is one of my top 16. And by the way, I don't know who all is in the top 16. I've thought about doing that, but I don't know. Like, it's not like I'm not saying this like you're all my babies, but like, you're my contestants. I don't want to do all that. So, DJ and Cass, they're going to be so... I mean, maybe DJ, he'll have a good laugh about it. Cass, I think, will be furious. I see Cass going all rampage. And I'm at peace with that. I think that's very, very funny. So, with that being said, let's now do the boot prediction. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing this based off the very specific challenges that they're going to go under. I just think there's no reasonable way for me to predict exactly how people will do. But I feel like I know everyone here enough in terms of their challenge performances that I could do a rough estimate of what I think is going to happen. So with that being said, for the first challenge, looking at this set of teams, who do I think could do well? Now, this is going to be your standard get a good score within 30 minutes challenge. Aisha, Sully, I think, could do well, but they kind of give safe, very in the middle. Null, Yeza, I see doing pretty well. Null has never been a challenge beast, but he's fine in the comps, and Yeza is unfortunately good in the comps, so I don't really see her flopping, especially because with the rivals twist, I think personally it de-incentivizes, it discourages you from throwing the comp, because you could just win the pilot and then nominate your partner to try and get the Inferno Pass. Also, prediction, so in the pre-merge, there can be a total of 5 Inferno Passes, period, of varying strengths. It could be the 3, it could be the 2. I don't even know if any of them are going to get used or earned, because that's very high risk, high reward. I mean, you're practically exposing yourself to the cast. Hey, I'm trying to get my partner up out of here. And if you all vote them out, I can get an Inferno Pass. So that's giving a lot of power to the pilot, really. So I'm not sure that it's going to happen. I think in certain cases it can happen. For example, I think Ash Juniper, I could see Ash winning, nominating Juniper, and then them voting out Juniper just because they're not the most active. Like I said before, Lynn Lunar, I could see that happening. Null Yeza, I could see both of them nominating the other and getting them out of there. Null for lack of connection, Yeza because of her personality. Chris Vaughn, I could see Vaughn getting out Chris. Because Chris, gets into drama. I mean, that's what I love about him. Andre Nova, I could see Nova making a good case for Andre. He is a villain. But I could also see Nova for lack of connection. She only played with literally one person here. And that person is her rival. So she would have to rely on Joey and his word of mouth. And anyone who knows Joey know that he's a giant snake in the grass. And Kira would cut Nova down on sight. Which, oh God, Kira, do not flop this season. I want Kira with a crown. And then DJ Cass. I wholeheartedly believe that if DJ were to win, he would put up Cass, no questions asked. And I think Cass would get right up out of there. So, who do I think is going to win this first comp? There's a couple people. Joey Kira, Lynn Lunar, Chris Vaughn, and Andre Nova. They are my 4 who I think could easily win the first challenge. Lunar is the compiest comp beast that has ever played this org. Lynn is not that. So, Joey, Kira, they don't have a weak link on their team in terms of challenges. Both Joey and Kira can hold their own in a comp, which is why I have them up here. I think consistency is key. Chris Vaughn. Vaughn is kind of like the new Lunar. In a sense, he's not exactly the same, but I see it. Vaughn is a very big comp beast. And Chris, he has 1 or 2 pilots under his belt from his 2-season run. So I wouldn't be surprised if they won. And then Andre Nova. Andre is incredibly good at challenges. He's another good comp beast. Another, Era 2 Lunar. You could say Vaughn is Era 3 Lunar. And then Andre is Lunar V2. And then Nova, I remember her being good at challenges. However, like I said, we don't know how, if you even remember me saying that. This video is so long, and we haven't even done the first rankings. Nova was good, but not great. She was just good. She was solidly good. And I don't know how that's going to translate when she can't grind out the comps. And also, she's not on a cast with a bunch of filler. Because those 16-person regular seasons where there was no alumni, really. Who was her competition for comps? Even people who made the endgame weren't really that good. Sophie, Hal, Hippie, Matt, I don't recall any of them being particularly good at comps. So how Nova will do up against a very competent cast of people, I have no idea. So to err on the side of caution, I'm not going to give the first win to Andre Nova. But I do think it's entirely possible. I think if they win the first comp, I would not be even a little bit surprised. I think they're both very good at comps, and I see them being top 3. I know I named 4 people, but if I had to chop one for the top 3 of the first comp, it would not be Andre Nova. And you'll kind of see that as a theme. I haven't pre-planned this video, as I always don't, but I thought about it, I pondered to make sure I wasn't just sitting here in silence. I think, as much as I love her, Lynn has never been good at comps. It's just not her thing. So I'm gonna remove her and Lunar from the top spots. I think Joey, Kira, I'm probably gonna take them out too. Even though I said that they're both very consistently good in the comps, the other two teams have Vaughn and Andre on. And they're both great at comps, and I think great trumps good. Which is different than Lynn and Lunar, because Lynn, I love her, like I said, top 16 to ever play. She's bad at comps. Not social comps, or creative comps. Let me make that clear. She's bad at physical comps, which is what I call when you have like an app, or you're doing commands or something. Basically anything that's not social or creative, like a jigsaw, for example. That's not a bad example because Lynn is pretty decent at jigsaws, but you get my point. So I'm going to take them out of the running. I'm going to take Joey, Kira out of the running. I think... I think I'm going to be ballsy, and I'm going to predict Chris and Vaughn. I'm going to say they're first, Andre and Nova are second. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. But don't get me wrong, I think all of these teams are pretty good at comps. There's no team that I think has two people who are bad at comps. Every team has one person that's competent. But I think I'm going to say Chris and Vaughn. I think Vaughn especially would not want to land in the bottom with Chris. Well, okay, I say that because I think Vaughn would not want the drama for the first week, but I do think he would jump at the chance to get rid of Chris and just have that taken care of. But I think Chris would try really hard, and I think Vaughn would give it a good, honest try. One thing about this twist is it really makes it matter which teammate takes the pilot. Because you have to trust that that person is not going to try to stab you in the back and nominate you. So if Chris and Vaughn do win, I see them fighting over who gets to be the pilot. I really do. I think neither of them would trust the other. But with that being said, I'm still going to say that Chris and Vaughn are going to win. No. I'm going to change my mind. I'm actually going to say Andre Nova. I know I said all that about Nova. We don't know how she's going to play. Maybe that's the T. Let me explain my reasoning. I'm trying not to talk too fast because I do that a lot. I could see Vaughn holding back a little bit. For that very reason that I just said. Because I think he'll not want to fight with Chris over who gets the pilot, and I think he's worried that if they do win and Chris ends up with the pilot, maybe he tells Chris, well, I don't want to be the week 1 pilot, I'll give it to you so you can be the week 1 pilot. Chris is going to nominate him. There's no way in hell he doesn't nominate him. So I believe that Vaughn would hold back in the comp, whereas I think Andre and Nova, as much as they wouldn't trust each other at all, I kind of feel like they would both try hard for the pilot. I really do. Not that they're the only team who would try hard, but I mean, they would try hard and be successful in doing so. Like Aisha, Sully, and Lynn Lunar, they're gonna try hard. I just think that I just think that Andre Nova would be the most successful in trying hard. So I'm going to have them as the winners. I don't think either of them will hold back. I think Nova, she would want to have the power so she can make some bonds within the cast. Because like I said, she really only has Joey as an ally. And Andre, I think, would want it so he could be the pilot so that Nova can't nominate him. Whether or not he would nominate Nova week 1, I don't know. Because even though they really do not fuck with each other, I do think both of them would kind of know that whoever gets nominated week 1 is not going to go home. Unless it's an inactive, but I don't see that being the case. So I think anyone on this cast would be foolish to try and just go for it week 1. Now, with that being said, if DJ and Cass win week 1, like I said, DJ is going to get Cass the hell out of there. And I think Cass would nominate DJ, but I don't think Cass would be successful. Whereas I know DJ would be successful. He is a rat and I love him. So I'm going to say Andre Nova. And I'm going to do my Nova bias. I'm going to say Nova is going to be the week 1 pilot. Whoa, I think I just pronounced that wrong. Week 1 pilot. I think she would make a case to Andre, be like, look, I don't want to fuck with you. You don't want to fuck with me. I need this more than you do. I'm willing to get the blood on my hands week 1 because I need to socialize with this cast. I need to make some allies, and if I have the power, I can do that. I'm not going to nominate you, as long as you don't nominate me, but I need this more than you. And I think Andre, very good strategist, he would take that chance. I think, at least. I think he would say, you know, if you want to get the blood on your hands, that's fine. I know that if you nominate me, I'm definitely not going home. They're not going to give someone that they don't know an Inferno pass on the very first week of gameplay. What? They don't know you at all, from a hole in the wall. This could be a girl who has never played the Gauntlet before, as far as they know. And they're going to give her a thing that cancels out 3 people's votes of her choosing? No. So I think Andre would take that. I would. If I were on this season and my partner had the same situation Nova did, I would give them the pilot. They're not going to nominate me. Absolutely not. They'd be dumb to try that. So that's my prediction. Now, who do I think is going to lose? DJ Cass. I do firmly believe that. I really do. I just don't see it for them. DJ is okay. He's good at the comms, but he's not incredible. And Cass, I don't think has ever been good in the comms. Now, same with Nova. We have never seen Cass play with the new... even the new format. Because back on Season 7, the last time Cass played, the pilot nominating someone was like a whole twist. It wasn't even the same as it was. It was a totally different ballgame. So we don't know how Cass is going to do in this new format. And we don't know how she'll do with the new way that I handle challenges, that being one grind. Actually, no, I don't think I do any grind comps anymore. Grind comps in the sense that you get a game and you play it over and over. Because they're, social challenges, creative comps, you get a full day. But you all probably know what I mean by that by now. So I'm going to say DJ and Cass are going to lose. I also see DJ throwing the comp just so he can get Cass out. Because I think DJ would be willing to not get the Inferno Pass if it meant getting Cass out of there. Because DJ, he's a troll. And even though DJ really wants to do well this season, which I love, I was so worried that he was just going to sleepwalk his... Oh my god, my cat is being so cute right now. Even though DJ... What the hell? Oh. I was worried that he was going to sleepwalk through the season, but he really seems like he wants to win. He wants to have a good impression because this might be his final gauntlet. That's just my impression. Let me make that clear. I don't think that's a quote. But it's like Lynn said, it's like Aisha said, I'm sorry. You never know when this will be your last gauntlet. And DJ is someone who I know would not want to go out on a whimper. So I could see him throwing the comp to get Cass out just for funsies. But I don't know. I think DJ would see the competition and not be scared, because DJ doesn't get scared. But I think he would acknowledge that would be dumb, because this is a very good cast. And the people that he's played with, the Instavets and Juniper, I think, are the only ones I can think of. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 people. 3 of them are winners. 1 is one of the best to never win, that being Joey, and Lunar is a double winner. I mean, DJ knows the caliber of people he's up against, if not just those 4 alone. And by the way, Juniper is the 3rd winner, if that wasn't clear. Oh no, I'm sorry, 4 winners. I was forgetting Juniper. I apologize. So yeah, 4 winners and 1 that's one of the best to never win. I would argue Joey is top 2 in best to never win with Nikki. So, I don't know. I could very well see Joey and Cass ending up in the bottom. I think it's possible Ash and Juniper end up in the bottom as well. Juniper doesn't give comp beast. Ash has never been the best at comps. I mean, she's not terrible. She's not Lynn. But, Lynn, I really hope you laughed at that, because I did mean that as playful shade. But, you know, Ash has never been great. Juniper, I don't think has ever really been great either. So I could see them not doing super well. But I think Ash still does orgs. Juniper, DJ, and Cass, the Gauntlet was probably one of, if not the final org they've played prior to this season. So Ash just has a bit more practice, and I think she could pull Juniper up a little bit. Unless Juniper just totally tanks it, which is possible. It's not impossible, is what I should say. But I don't know. I just see DJ and Cass not really doing well, and I see them being up for elimination. Now, who does Nova nominate next to them? Oh, and then the bodyguard. For this season, I'm gonna just have it be one person from the team in second. You know, usually I'll make the first of an All-Stars, I'll say. I'll make the first week non-elimination, and that way we can choose a pilot that way. I did consider that for this season. However, with the split house, or the bracket twist that I want to do, it would have had so many turbulence weeks really close together. And even though I'm fine with that, let me make that very clear. The Rivals twist does not work with the traditional pre-merge double elimination format. It really doesn't. It really relies on one person being nominated to be up for elimination. And I didn't see a world where the regular format paired well with the twist. And if I had to pick, I would rather do something new than do the bare bones twists that I'm used to. So I will just have it be where one person from the second place team will get to be the bodyguard. Excuse me, and they can choose amongst themselves. So that would be Chris or Vaughn. I think Vaughn would get it, because that's who I said would be second. I could see Chris not really needing it as much. I don't think he would feel he's in danger with Nova. I actually think he and Nova would get along quite well at first. I don't think he would need it, or think he would need it. And Vaughn, I think he'd make a better case for it. I think Chris would know that against Vaughn, he really needs to be careful, because Vaughn could get them a challenge win. And if they need to do a tiebreaker comp to decide who the pilot is, Vaughn would beat his ass. So I think Chris would just kind of do what Vaughn wants in the early game until he could backstab him, in which case I think Vaughn is going to be the bodyguard. If he doesn't bodyguard himself, which he might, I mean, it's a very valid strategy. If Vaughn vibes with Andre, he could bodyguard him and just see if Nova would do that. But I could also see him bodyguarding Aisha, because they are very close, and if Vaughn feels that he's safe, then I think knowing where the bodyguard lies, like what team it's on, I think Nova would just not go for anyone from that team. I wouldn't, because naturally the bodyguard would pick themselves to protect. So if Nova knows there's a 50-50 chance of who the bodyguard is, she's not going to pick one of those two people. because that minimizes your chance of getting blocked and then looking like an idiot. So I think Vaughn would protect Aisha. They have very good friendship on All Stars 5. One of my favorites. Her, Vaughn, and Shane. One of my favorite trios ever. Totally outsold the Teardrops. That's a deep cut. If you know, you know. From All Stars 1. And I think he would protect Aisha. Now, Nova nominating. Total wild card. But I'm going to say Juniper. I think Nova would nominate Juniper. I think Juniper is going to be the least talkative of the cast. And I could see Ash just like getting rid of them. You know, I think Ash knows that no one in their right mind would give her access to an Inferno Pass, especially after Superstars 2. I don't think she wants an Inferno Pass when Kira is around. So I think Ash would just say, if I burn my teammate, I can get him up out of there, and people may be more inclined to give me 2 vote burns as opposed to 3. So I think Juniper would get put up. Even though Cass is Australian, and that does present some unique challenges in terms of being online with the rest of the group, I could see Cass being sociable. Because like I said, Cass may start drama, but Cass is good at just getting to know people and making herself appear likable to them. Even if she's, you know, not the most reliable ally or may actually start drama. So I'm going to say Juniper gets put up with DJ and Cass. And you may have kind of noticed, but I'm going to make Juniper the first out. As sad as that is, originally when I went into this video, I actually thought I was going to have Cass be the first out. But the more I think about it, the more I kind of see Juniper not being inactive, but being the least active amongst the cast. You know, Juniper, I mean, most of this, I think everyone here is an adult, maybe except for Null. I think Null is like 17, but most of the people here have like big kid jobs. So I see the activity level as a whole not being huge, but I do think Juniper would be the least active and an easy pick for people to nominate and vote out. Which is why I think Juniper is going to be first boot. Which is sad, because I love Juniper. I'm so excited to have them back. I would love to be proven wrong. But then again, I would probably say that about anyone, because I don't want any of these people to be first boot. I'm very excited about all 16 of these people. Which, that's why I call this season pretty much a Superstars, because everyone here is iconic in some way to me. And I think the very few people that will spectate this season are going to understand that this is a stacked cast and every elimination is going to be brutal. So with that being said, we now move on. Ash is by herself. Juniper picked the week 2 bodyguard. I feel like they can't pick DJ. Never mind. I was gonna say, I mean, if Juniper gets nominated, they pick DJ. I think they would remember DJ, or DJ would be like, oh my god, like we played on season 9 together. But in terms of people from All Stars 3, I could see it being given to Andre. I could see it being given to Aisha. I could see Aisha and Juniper being friends. Maybe Kira. But I'm just gonna be safe and go with Andre. I don't think Juniper would give it to Ash because that's their rival. You know, they might want to save that in case they can nominate Ash the following week. I also just realized I incorrectly said that there could be 5 Inferno passes. There can be more than that. Math is not my strong suit. So, we now move on to week 2. It's the same gist as before. Why do I feel like, is that not an appropriate word? Gist? Maybe I'm thinking of the slur for the Romani Jewish population, JYPSY. You might say, I got JYPPED. I'm not going to say it because I just really don't want to, but I for some reason I thought that was the same thing. So it's the same idea, same concept. It's another, high score comp. I mean, I think Ash would do better without Juniper there, so I'm not going to have Ash be up for elimination. Uh, do I see DJ Cass being up for elimination again? I don't know. I mean, I could see this comp, though, not being a game per se, but being some kind of interactive thing. Like, how I do that comp where you have to look through the grid and find a symbol. Like, that could be a fun one to do for week 2. I'll probably do that one. Or something to that effect. So it's not like a game that requires coordination. That's maybe a better word than physical for the app games. Coordination. This will be more like perception, finding. Well, no, I want to save that for the end, actually. Never mind. Who knows what comp it's going to be. I am going to say that this is where Cass goes, though, regardless of what happens. It's the same reason as why I was going to put Cass as the first boot. Not the best at comps. I do think Cass will be more active, but I think DJ, after losing another comp, in my scenario, I see him getting rid of her. So that would leave DJ and Ash as a team. Oh, Snakes in the Grass. That's that team's name. Holy hell. So now we on our third comp. Who would even win the second comp? Let's say Joey, Kira. They're not going to nominate each other. The block, I said, would go to Andre. I don't think Kira would do that to Andre right away. Maybe she would nominate... who would be the pilot? Be Joey or Kira? I don't know, actually. Because I really don't see either of them trusting each other. Sorry. Maybe Joey would get it. I could see Kira just being like, okay, if you screw me over, I have more allies here than you do. I don't think Joey would nominate Kira. Well, he could. But I think if Cass is up and the group is already seeing the blood in the water, I could see a safe nomination of, like, Null. But I don't think Null would go home. As much as Yeza would try, I don't think Null would go home. So with that being said, we move on to week 3. Ash and DJ are a team. I think they're going to be fine. I think this is when Aisha and Sully would land in the bottom. Even though I said Lynn's comp performance would offset Lunar, I still think Lunar would do really well. And, you know what, let me... Uh-oh. Oh. Okay, I guess that's showing up in the video then. Sure, why the hell not? So I was going to look at the All-Stars 4 track records. Okay, Lunar did amazing, so... Yeah, I'm gonna say that Lunar would still pull Lynn up. And I think Aisha, Sully... Sully did really good on All-Stars 4. I don't think Superstars... Ooh. Yikes, okay, well... Yeah, so... I hope I didn't dox myself. Yeah, Aisha did okay, but I'm gonna say that Aisha Sully would lose this comp. I think they'd be near the bottom, I think they'd be in the bottom. But Ash and DJ could, and Lynn Lunar could, and Null Yeza could. I think Chris Vaughn, Joey Kira, and Andre Nova, they're gonna be fine for the pre-merge. Who would win? I feel like I already did the other two. I think Chris Vaughn is going to happen early on. And this one matters because Vaughn would try to save Aisha. I could see Chris trying to take the pilot from Vaughn. because Chris knows that Vaughn would want to save Aisha. So I have to plug my laptop in, so let me pause real quick. Alright, I'm back. So I said that Aisha Sully would lose, Chris Vaughn would win. There'd probably be a scuffle as to who gets pilot, and I don't know, I think they'd... Andre just messaged. Oh yeah, ew, one more day. Oh, he was saying... Okay. Okay, the oh yeah, ew was about a joke I had made. So I think Vaughn would get to be the pilot. Now, who does he put up? I think... And this is a... I'm like tired, y'all. I had to stay up most of last night, which I wasn't very successful, but I barely got any sleep the last 2 days because I had an EEG today, and for that they want you to stay up from like 2 a.m. to my appointment was at 8 a.m. I didn't really do a good job at that, but I did not get a lot of sleep at all. I'm very tired and discombobulated, so I apologize if I'm sounding, neurotic. I think if Vaughn is trying to get Aisha to be safe, I'm going to be bold and say that he puts up Lunar. Did I say who was going to be the bodyguard this week? Joey, Kira... Kira gets... No, Joey probably gets pilot. He nominates Null. Null probably gives it to... Honestly, probably Aisha. I could see him giving it to her, or Lynn, or Nova. Maybe DJ. That's kind of who I see him being friends with. Maybe Vaughn too, but probably not. I could maybe see being like Nova. Maybe he kind of wants to help her because they're both part of the odd ones out of the cast. Vaughn has to nominate someone. Nova would probably use it on Joey, but I think Lunar would get nominated. I think Vaughn would try to make it I think he'd pick Lunar because Lunar is a double winner. And if he wants to protect Aisha, knowing that she's a threat, I mean, so is Sully, but knowing she's a threat, he'd probably put up the biggest threat on the cast, which is the double winner. You know what? Fuck it. I'm tired. Let's have some fun. Let's say that works. Let us just say that is gonna work. That to protect Aisha, he throws up Lunar. Maybe Lunar just isn't, in the game as much this season. And maybe it works. Maybe kind of like Cass and Juniper. No, just Juniper, sorry. Maybe like Juniper, Lunar is not the most active and they vote him out for it. That's the headcanon I've made up, right, Sunny D? So notice I haven't really thought of anyone nominating their partner. Certainly he could nominate Chris, but I don't think Chris would go against Aisha or Sully. I think it'd be Aisha or Sully. And I could see Aisha wanting to keep Sully in the game because that's her partner and she doesn't want to be alone. So Vaughn would want someone outside of that team, but probably not his own partner, to go. So he probably put up Lunar in that situation. Alright, now we have another comp. Lynn is by herself and she's gonna be up for elimination. I think Lynn by herself would be up for elimination. So now Lynn pulls down the second to last team with her. Who do I think that would be? I think if everything I said happens, I could see Aisha and Sully really kicking it in to overdrive and really trying to do their best on this comp. Especially if they know that Lynn is by herself. They know Lynn. They know that she's not the best at comps, so they're going to have to make sure they do extra good to try and protect her and give her someone she can beat in a vote. Could very well be DJ and Ash, or it could be Null and Yeza. But I'm going to do Null Yeza. I think by now they would have had to be bottom two for a challenge. So I'm going to say that Lynn, Null, and Yeza are all up for elimination. Um, would Aisha and Sully win this comp? I think I'm gonna... I don't know, I'm gonna go with Chris and Vaughn again. I think I'm putting a lot of stock into Vaughn, but a lot of these times when I do these prediction videos, I try to disperse the wins, and that just doesn't happen. Like, it's pretty rare that I get the comp distribution right, because when there's a comp beast, I usually try to underestimate them and say, well, I don't know, maybe this team would do really good in this comp. I'm just gonna say Vaughn probably has 2 team comp wins under his belt, or maybe this is the 3rd, I don't fucking remember. I could see him winning again. I could see him really, really trying hard. And because he was just pilot, wait, didn't I say that he would be the pilot when Cass goes up? No, I said Joey Kira. Oh, I'm gonna give this one to Vaughn and Chris. I'm gonna say Chris is gonna win the pilot. And I think he puts up Vaughn. I think after that big move, Vaughn getting out Lunar, I think that would really rattle the cast. And I could see people looking at Vaughn kind of crazy. I could see people really thinking of him as a threat, and not wanting him around anymore. And I think Chris would try to jump at that opportunity to nominate Vaughn and get him the hell out of there. Now, would Vaughn go against Lin, Yaze, and Null? I don't think so. I think Aisha would get Joey. Maybe... Oh, they would have Nova, because Nova's with Joey. I think they could rope in DJ. And they'd probably rope in Sully as well. And those will be the votes to keep Vaughn in this instance. Maybe not Sully. Maybe Sully would turn on Vaughn. Or maybe Joey would turn on Aisha. I mean, it's happened before. So I don't think that would happen. I think Lin would be safe as well. I think if they were going to vote someone out, I don't think Lin would be that big of a threat. Because they just saw her, this would be her 2nd comp loss in a row. Or no, I'm sorry, no it would not be. But they would see that by herself she's not very good, and that Lunar was probably keeping her afloat. So they would probably reason, oh, you know what? Last comp with Lunar, that would have been a social comp. Should I go back and change that? Because I probably would have that be a social comp, just to see what would happen. I'm gonna have to. I mean, in my heart of hearts, if it's a social comp, I don't see that happening. But that was really fun to think about, wasn't it? Like, I was interested. In a social comp, that would be Null and Yaze's undoing. That is absolutely when they would lose. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say Null and Yaze lose. I think in a social comp, that'd be Aisha Sully. I firmly believe that. I think they have just the right amount of connections with us. That's so funny that I just went from having them be bottom 2 to winning the comp. But it's a social comp. That is where those 2 players thrive. I mean, both of them got their wins off of social equity. Like, social win equity. So I feel like they would win. After Cass and Juniper go, I don't know who would take it. Maybe I could see Sully taking it. I could see neither of them wanting it. But I think Sully would take it, because I think Aisha really would not want to take it. Like, I think she would move heaven and earth. I could almost see them doing the tiebreaker comp for who has to have the pilot. Like the opposite of what I said about Chris and Vaughn competing for the pilot, I could see Aisha and Sully competing for who does not have to do the pilot. Winner does not have to, the loser has to be the pilot this week. But I'm probably going to put Sully. I think Sully is more likely to just say, you know what, fuck it, I'll take the pilot. Because I don't think they're going to nominate each other. So against Null and Yeza in a social comp, who does Sully put up? I don't think Sully puts up Lunar. That just seems weird to me. I don't see that happening one bit. I think Sully would be friends with DJ. I see those two really clicking. Or becoming enemies. I see the pendulum going one way or the other. I don't see an in-between. But I think they would like each other. I think Sully would kind of be like a more tame Bolivia for DJ, and I see them really getting along. So maybe DJ convinces Sully to do something shady. Does Sully try to weaken Aisha by putting up Vaughn? Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna maybe think that Sully puts up Andre. I don't think Sully would put up Joey, because I think Sully is probably in an alliance with Joey by this point, because of Aisha. Well, I don't know, because I could see Sully finding a way to put up Lunar or Joey, and because I don't think they would be in an alliance with all of the Insta-vets. I think it would be Aisha and Lynn, and maybe one other person not from that, maybe like DJ, for example, to round out that quartet. I don't think Joey and Lunar would be in that alliance. Maybe Lunar, if anything, but I don't think Joey would be in that alliance. So maybe Sully puts up Joey, trying to break up the Insta-vets and the Nova connection as well. Because if you break that up, Sully can sweep in and take Nova for themselves. And I don't think they put up Nova because Joey would still have a bunch of people. And I think Sully... I don't know if Sully knows that 4 are connected, but they know Aisha and Lynn are connected. They know that Lunar and Joey are connected, and they know that Lynn and Lunar are connected. Lynn and Lunar would bridge the gaps between those two duos I just mentioned, and I think Sully would at least know that those 4 would have something between them. So I'm gonna say Joey would get put up. But I don't know, actually, because in this scenario, Joey has had a pilot, but Sully is someone who does not make big moves early on in the game. That's just not Sully's playstyle. Sully, as I would know, stabs you in the back like a bitch at Final 8 onwards. And you know, sometimes it doesn't work out, and I win the season. Punk ass. But then sometimes it does work out, and I get robbed because Sully and Ash were so jealous that I was doing good in the game. Fuckers. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Sully does put up Nova to try and slowly chip away at the vets. I don't think Sully puts up Lunar. I think they would be friendly towards each other. I already said I think Sully works with DJ. Maybe Sully puts up Chris. I think that is more likely, and that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say Aisha tells Sully, hey, like that Chris guy, you know, he's trouble, you gotta put him up. You know, maybe get him out of there, and then we can work with Vaughn, and da-da-da-da-da. But I don't know, because I think Aisha would want to set up Vaughn so that Vaughn can nominate Chris, and then get Chris out of there. I don't know, it's really hard to predict what this cast will do. You all really confuse me a lot of the time. I don't know if Sully... I'm not gonna say would be dumb enough, because that Sully wouldn't do it on purpose. But I don't know if Sully would take that chance of having the quartet of... When I say the quartet, I mean Aisha, Lynn, Lunar, Joey. Just from now on, that is who I mean by the quartet. I don't know if Sully would want that quartet going in the final 12. Because Sully would know. Or no, I'm sorry. They'd be going in the final 13, excuse me. I still don't know if Sully would want that, but I think it would be too early to make that move. But I think Sully would start planting the seeds here. And I could see a world where they put up Nova. You know what? I'm just gonna say that Andre goes up. No. Oh. I gotta stop thinking you all are gonna make the biggest moves possible. Sully will put up Chris. That is my prediction. I think Sully will put up Chris because Aisha and Vaughn would get into their ear and tell them about Chris and how Chris can be messy. Now we have Null, Yeza, Chris, and oh, Andre would not save Chris. I don't see them bonding at all. I don't see them fighting, I don't see them bonding. We have Null, Yeza, Chris, all new era players up for elimination, which I think there's only 4 of them on this cast, and Aisha is the only one who's played with them. She's never played with Null, barely played with Yeza, BFS with Vaughn, and Vaughn hates her BFF. I'm sorry, Chris hates her BFF, Vaughn. I don't see it going well for Chris on this season. Now, between these 3, oh god, I don't know. Like I said, I think Null and Nova would have a bond. I could see DJ and Yeza getting along because they're both messy. But I don't know. I think it's between Yeza and Chris. I just don't see Null. I think Null knows that Flopstars was not a flattering showing for them. And I think they would really want to do well this time around. Whereas Yeza and Chris, they've already done well. I'm gonna go with Chris as the elimination. As much as I really wanted to go through with that hypothetical I said, where Vaughn makes a big move and then Chris nominates him and gets him out of there, it doesn't seem plausible. That seems too funny to be true. Which I hope Chris does not go this early. Excuse me! I hope Chris does not go this early. But it's all I can think of right now. I think Yeza, while I could see her having another All-Stars 5 moment where she doesn't... Did she not do well in All-Stars 5? You know what? We can check the document together. Yeza, 10th. Okay, so... I think Chris did go farther than her on that season. But... Okay, here's the thing, right? The black box will be on this season, and I could see Yeza using it to be messy and then blaming it on Chris. That is such a Yeza thing to do. So I'm gonna keep it the way I have. So Chris, who would he pick for the bodyguard? He certainly would not pick Null, Yeza. Well, he can't pick Null or Yeza. He wouldn't pick Vaughn. He definitely wouldn't pick Aisha. He wouldn't pick Sully. Now, see, I can't even think of who Chris would pick, which justifies Chris being one of the first boots for this season. I guess I'll pick Nova. I have no idea who Chris would be cool with enough to give the bodyguard. I could almost see him not wanting to give the bodyguard. Because who would he give it to? Maybe Joey or DJ are possibilities, but I don't see it for them. I'm gonna say DJ. I maybe part of me is like, maybe Nova would find him annoying, and he would find her to be, you know, like having a stick up her ass. So I'm gonna pick DJ instead. He would have bodyguard going into week 4. So week 4, I think now, because Vaughn, I'm gonna say he wins, quite frankly. I think by himself, he would beat all the other teams. Only because Lin would pull Lunar's average down a little bit, depending on the comp. Depending on the comp, let me make that clear. Lin's not terrible at everything. It's just most of the early game comps are things Lin does not succeed in. So I'm going to say Vaughn would win. I know I said that Lin would probably bring Lunar's average down, but now that Null and Yeza are still here, and Ash and DJ are here, I'm kind of having second thoughts. Like I said, this is why the comms didn't even matter, because it's not like I'm going and checking how all of you did on every specific comp. So it's like I'm doing the same information here. I think, given the state of the game, right? I'm gonna do Null Yeza. Because DJ did good on Season 9. And then we go to Flapstars. And Null did not do well. So that's why I'm not, like... and Yeza, I think, did well on Flapstars. She did okay. Then we go to All-Stars 5, she did okay. So yeah, I'm comfortable having them lose this comp. Which would be 2 in a row. Very funny. Who does Vaughn put up against Null and Yeza? Because Chris isn't here, it becomes very tricky. Because earlier I said he would put up Lunar, but that was only to protect Aisha. I don't think Aisha would be trying to get Lunar out, so I don't think she would do that unprompted. I mean, I don't even think she would tell Vaughn to do that to protect her. I think my thinking was Vaughn would do that of his own volition. So, DJ is bodyguard and Vaughn is the pilot. In a weird way, I see him putting up Joey. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But I could see him putting up Joey. DJ wouldn't protect Joey. I don't see Vaughn clicking with him. I mean, I don't see him clicking with Kira either. But, I mean, it could be Andre or Nova as well. I think it's one of those 4 that I just said. Or Ash. Or Ash. But... I am going to say... What is the safest play for Vaughn to do? I think it'd be Nova, right? You know what? I'm gonna say Joey, because I could see someone going to Vaughn and being like, hey, there's probably about to be a Turbulence week. Because next round is Final 12, and they don't know about the brackets. So I could see someone going, hey, I mean, it'd be metagaming. So would someone do that? Though, I mean, someone would probably just say, hey, like, I think those 4 are working together because they're always, you know, defending each other and bringing each other up. So, you know, could Vaughn take a shot at one of them? Maybe. I could also see Aisha maybe talking him out of it. But alternatively, I could see him nominating Nova to try and weaken Joey, because Nova would probably be in with the Instavets. Like, I could see an alliance of Aisha, Lin, Lunar, Joey, Nova. And Nova is like their secret 5th person that, you know, no one would ever suspect. So, well, no, if I just said no one would suspect it, would Joey give away Nova like that? I don't know. I could see him not doing that, actually. I'm gonna say he puts up Kira instead. I know I keep flip-flopping. I'm also tired. It's 12:13 a.m. I think he'll put up Kira. Because I think he would keep Nova only because I don't think he'd really see her as a threat. And I think she'd make herself... She's good socially. Whereas with Kira, I can just see him not connecting with her. Like, it's not anything against her or him. I just don't really see them vibing with each other. So, I mean, maybe he could put up DJ as well. It really depends on what Vaughn wants to do. But I think he'd maybe put up Kira, because I think they would have done well in the comps. And if he had to pick, maybe he would pick someone who could potentially get a win and nominate him. So I'm gonna say he puts up Kira, because he's in with Aisha and the vets, and she would dissuade him from choosing Joey. So I'll say he puts up Kira. Though I do think it's possible that Aisha maybe tries to set it up to where Joey gets taken out, Kira gets with Vaughn. Oh no, that wouldn't work anyways. So never mind, I think he puts up Kira. So now we have Kira, Null, Yeza. Kira would give the bodyguard to Ash. That's obvious. We have Kira, Null, Yeza. Kira is safe. There's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Now we have Null versus Yeza. It's like my gut is telling me Null, but my brain is telling me Yeza might start some drama by now. Because it's Yeza, right? Like, she's so tragically herself. And I could see Null capitalizing on that and trying to work with Vaughn. Because you also gotta think, whoever goes, their partner goes with Vaughn, and I don't think he would want Yeza. Even if she is doing better in the comps than Null, I think he wouldn't trust her. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna say Yeza is gonna be the fourth boot. I think this is a good prediction. I think it's very realistic what I've got going on. So now we have the brackets twist. Based on how they have performed in the last couple of comps, that will be how the brackets get decided. So the 3 best teams will go with the 3 worst, lowest average teams. So I think Andre Nova, depending on who Vaughn gets, because that's the thing. Vaughn, I think, would have good placements every week. I'm just not sure about who he gets, especially if it's Null. I just said that Null would have 2 bottom placements in a row. So that would bring the average down a little bit. So, like Aisha, Sully, and Joey Kira, I don't think I've said that they would be in the bottom within this timeline. So they might have better records than Vaughn and Null, or Vaughn and whoever he gets. So I think what I'll say is that in bracket 1, the 3 teams with the best average ranking would be Aisha, Sully, Andre Nova, and Joey Kira. Right? Because I don't see Null and Yeza really doing that well. So I think Null would really mess up the numbers that Vaughn brings. Whereas Aisha, Sully, they have that first place together. They both have that win. So I'm gonna say that. So to notate that one here, I'm gonna have this corner be bracket 1. And then these 3 will... I don't even know if y'all can see my mouse cursor. You can, okay. So those are the brackets. Now we have a team comp. This one is going to be a bit more... not coordination, but more strategy, maybe more of finding a picture in the quadrants, etc., etc. So this is going to not be an app comp, and that is important to make that distinction. So let's look at bracket 1, the people who consistently do better in the comps. Aisha, Sully, Joey, Kira, Andre Nova. I think this is when Andre and Nova would really kick it into gear. I think. Because I also think this is around the time when Nova would be starting school. Because I think we're probably around May 11th. No. Let me pull up my thing and just hope to God y'all won't see it. I mean, it's not like there's anything bad on there, I just don't want to dox myself. So, at Final 12, and I'll explain why this is important. Oh dear God. Okay, no, Andre Nova would win. Nova said that around May 11th, she may be a little less active, so that I probably would have had her not win this comp. I'm gonna say Andre and Nova win their brackets comp. And I think Ash and Sully would lose their brackets comp. I think Joey and Kira would do pretty well. Let me look at how Kira did not do well on Superstars. Okay, I think I've severely overestimated how well Joey and Kira would do in these comps. Because it's not looking so good for her. For Kira, I should specify. But Ash isn't really good at the comps either. So what am I to do with that information? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep it as is, because I'm too tired to try and rewrite this entire thing. So I'm gonna keep these brackets the same. I'm gonna say that Joey and Kira will lose their bracket. Now that I've gone back and looked at the track records, I'm gonna say Joey and Kira will lose their bracket. Andre and Nova will win. That means Aisha and Sully are safe. I see this being a struggle between Andre and Nova for who will take the pilot. Because Andre will want to put Aisha up for elimination next to Joey, is my prediction. And I think Nova would want to put Andre up against Joey. Oh, and Yezo would pick, I don't know, let's say DJ for bodyguard. And then DJ in the other bracket, I think he'd pick Aisha. Well, no, I did say... Well, okay, but either go to Aisha or Sully, but I'll see if that matters in a second. So between Andre and Nova, who would be more like, I need to take the pilot? I have no idea, because I think both of them would really, really want this pilot. So I think it would come down to a tiebreaker, and I think Andre would get it. So now the question is, because even though I just say he put up Aisha, would he take this opportunity then to put Nova up and then get Sully and Kira to knock her out so that Andre can get an Inferno pass? This is why the bracket twist was so important, is it becomes a lot easier to get the Inferno pass from doing this. Because let's say Andre, I mean, hell, if Aisha and Sully lose, oh no, never mind, scratch that. So if Joey and Kira lose, Andre could put up Nova next to Joey, ensuring that Joey can't vote to save her, and then just goes to Sully and Kira. Now, of course, Sully would have to stab Aisha in the back. Well, no, because Aisha would probably want to keep Joey, but I could see her wanting to keep Nova. Choices, but I think if Andre and Vaughn are not in the same bracket, I sadly think this is where Nova goes. Now you may be wondering, well, why wouldn't they take out Joey? I mean, he's such a bigger threat than Nova. Yes, I agree, but this would be, I don't even remember what I did. I think this would be their second team win. I think Andre would really prop up how Nova was carrying the team, and I think he would strike some kind of deal with Sully and Kira. I don't know though, because I don't think Sully and Andre really vibed with each other on Superstars. So I could see it where he nominates Nova and it backfires on it. That actually seems more likely. Because look at the voters. So let's say we have Joey and Nova up. That leaves Aisha, Sully, and Kira as the voters. Well, we know Kira had the rivalry with Joey. Aisha could go either way, but here's the thing. She would not want Andre to have the Inferno Pass, so I think she would keep Joey just on that basis alone. Even if it was someone else against Nova, I don't think she would want Andre to have that power. So I think no matter what, she would go against him, and it just so happens to be Joey. So now it comes down to Sully. What does... I almost said, what does they do? What do they do? It's a real gamble. Because if Sully keeps in Joey, they break their trust with Aisha, presumably, and Lynn and Lunar. They do gain the trust of Andre, but do they really trust Andre? I don't know if they would. Now, if they get rid of Nova, now you're going into Final 10. They're all going to think it's the merge, because usually on these 16-person casts, I merge at 10. So Sully's got to think we're merging. 4 of the people in the merge are, have a strong connection to each other. I just screwed over Andre, and that'll buy me 1 week of safety. And I don't have Lynn and Lunar having a win yet, but I know Sully would fear that Lunar by himself could win, and then put him up for taking out Joey. If Sully gets rid of Nova, it's like that's less blood on their hands going into the merge. And I think Sully, in this format, I don't think they want to make a big move until the merge. So I think in this very specific scenario that I've created, I think Sully would rather burn a bridge with Kira and keep Joey in the game, as opposed to burning a bridge with Aisha, Lynn, and Lunar. Even though I don't think Aisha and Lynn, or even Lunar, would really mind that much, because they all know that Joey is a massive threat. I think Sully would play it safe. Sully is very good at knowing when a move has to be made. Do they always have a chance to make that move? No. But Sully knows how to hold back and wait until the timing is right. And I was gonna say that's how they won Superstars too, but it was really just because Pugh really had a bitter jury against him, which was his fault. I stand by the fact that Sully earned the Superstars crown. I think with All-Stars 4, that's more exemplary of what Sully Prime can do. And I think Sully knows, if I get on the vet's good side, I can turn people against them in the merge, and they're not going to come after me because I made sure Joey was safe in a really tough situation. And they have protection from Andre, because I don't think they are going to rely on Andre using the pass to save them, but it might. Or Andre at least would not use the pass to screw over Sully, because Sully helped them get it. And if we're about to enter jury, that'd be a really shady thing to do. So I'm gonna say Nova goes in my very specific scenario. Remember, my predictions are usually very far off. This is basically fan fiction that I'm doing. Now the shitty bracket. Sorry, that was like so shady for no reason. Um, this is tough because Lynn and Null are gonna pull down Lunar and Vaughn, and then you have Ash and DJ, who historically are very middling in the challenges. And I think it comes down to what the challenge is. Let me see. Whoa, let me see again how Lunar did on All-Stars 4. Okay, well... I don't know. Maybe excuse me, maybe Lunar... I keep opening all the wrong tabs. I'm so exhausted. Maybe Lunar would keep Lynn safe from the rankings. Let me look up how Vaughn did on All-Stars 5. Incredible. I'm gonna say Ash and DJ. Oh, DJ picked Aisha. I don't think she'd protect Lunar. She would protect herself if Andre's the pilot. So DJ is bodyguard. It's him and Ash in the cockpit. Who does DJ prevent from being nominated? I think DJ would want to pick someone who he doesn't think he could beat. And I think Lynn, he would be nervous to go up against her because she's very social. Like, if it's him versus Lunar, she might stay. Or, excuse me, if it's DJ versus Lynn, Lynn would stay. If it's him versus Lunar, he can say, oh, massive comp threat. If it's Null, he can be like, oh, well, you know, I'm closer to you all than Null is. Like, Null is really the odd one out of his bracket. So, I think Vaughn... Well, I don't know, because I actually think Vaughn would pull DJ. No. Well, I don't know, because I said Vaughn wouldn't vibe with Kira. And if he makes an enemy of Kira, he would make one with Ash, and I think he would know that. So maybe he would put someone in with Ash that he thinks could beat her in a vote, which would then be Lynn. Oh wait, am I saying that Null and Vaughn are gonna win? Because I don't think Null is gonna do that well. It's really about Lynn and Null, and how they will do in the comps. I'm gonna reference Superstars 2 again to look at Lynn's track record. Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say Null and Vaughn are gonna win again. So I think Vaughn will try to get out Kira. I think maybe Lunar... I'm sorry, get out Ash. I think Lunar would go to Vaughn and say, hey look, I know Kira. Kira's not going to be happy with you after the stunt you just pulled. So what you need to do is you need to get out Ash. So that way when we go into the merge again, or just go forward in general, you don't want both of them to be pissed at you. Like, you really want one of them gone before we get to the end game where there's a bunch of social comps. So I think he would take DJ off the block. And I could see him putting in Lynn. Because I don't think anyone would really try to get rid of Lynn. I think Lunar would want to keep her safe. I don't think he would try to get the Inferno Pass from Null. Even though he very well could. Well, no, because I just said he'd be trying to get out Ash. See, the thing is, I don't know how Lynn... I mean, I could see Lynn also wanting to take out Ash and Kira for Aisha's sake, because she knows that, may remember, I should say, that Aisha had beef with them, and probably Lynn had beef with them as well. So I'm actually gonna say Null gets nominated in place of DJ, and then, it's so funny, I got 3 Superstars 1 people, Lynn, Lunar, DJ. I think the 3 of them would conspire to take out Ash. This is so unrealistic. Ash would never be pre-merge. But this is what I've got for you guys, so... Plus, you know, it's funny to see how wrong I am post-season. So now we have exited the brackets. This is our final week in teams. Everyone's gonna find out that Ash and Nova were the two who left. That leaves Andre and DJ together. That is a match made in heaven if I ever saw it. I said Andre is like Lunar version 2. No, Andre is DJ version 2. And I see them really starting a ruckus. So I think after that, it'd be funny to do a social comp. But like a mean-spirited one, you know? Like not, oh, who do you like the most? No, like this is, trying to instigate some nastiness. Oh, I'm gonna switch Nova and Ash because I would want the first bracket to get the higher placement. But it doesn't really matter. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. But I'm thinking the person who gets eliminated in bracket 2, they are going to have the lower placement of the two. But, you know, maybe I'll change my mind. So, we have a social comp. I kind of think people would leave Kira alone for this week, mainly because Joey is there. I could see people targeting Andre and DJ because the bracket 1 people will say, hey, Andre got his personnel. We need to throw his ass in the bottom. Ash would give Kira bodyguard, Nova would give Joey bodyguard. That's so funny. I just realized the 2 people who got out are friends, like the number 1s of an entire team. That's cool. So I think Joey and Kira would be safe. And I think the target would then go to Andre and DJ. Because Andre would have the Inferno Pass. And I think they would just want to get that out of there. Who would win the social comp? I mean, it could be Joey Kira. My lot, if I was playing on the season, I would say, you know, Joey and Kira, they're probably the 2 bodyguards, so let's just have them win. And then they can't screw over anyone else's nominations. Like, we can just put them up, but will this cast think of that? I don't think so. Sir, I don't think Aisha Sully would win the social comp. I know they won the previous social comp, but I don't see it for them this time. I think Sully taking out Nova... I don't know, though, because it would be up against Joey, and I think Joey would respect it. I think he'd be fine to survive against Nova, and I think he would respect Sully. So maybe the vets would give them some points. And Aisha... I don't know, because her and Sully were on team Help Joey. Although I guess if... I don't see them all targeting Kira after that. I think Andre would be the target. It's just, who do these people give their points to? You know what? I'm gonna say Aisha and Sully again. Only because, here's my logic. I was thinking Lynn and Lunar actually could win this comp. But I think Lynn and Lunar would help out Aisha and Sully. I think Joey would help Aisha and Sully. I think DJ would help them, and I think Vaughn would help them. That would be every team helping them. Whereas with Lynn Lunar, Null and Vaughn would probably help them, but I don't see Joey helping them. Not in a shady way, but I just don't see Lynn and Lunar receiving the same support that Aisha, especially Aisha, but both Aisha and Sully would receive. So I'm going to say they win. Andre and DJ are up for elimination. Joey and Kira... Well, who would be pilot? I don't know. It depends on who wants it more. because here's why I'm stumbling on that. If everyone's like, okay, we need to get Andre and DJ in the bottom, who do we put up against to ensure that even if the pass is used, we're all unanimous on getting Andre out of there? Because I think Aisha and Sully would both try to get Andre out. I think they'd both have that common goal. I think knowing Ash got out, I don't think they would go for Kira, because they would correctly, in my opinion, assume that she is a bodyguard. Or no, I said you can only bodyguard someone from your bracket. So Ash would never pick Kira, but Nova would definitely pick Joey. So I think Ash would actually protect Andre, not like it would matter, and Nova would protect Joey. So I'm gonna say Kira would get nominated then. I think she would just put Kira up because Kira, in my head, would have worked with Andre to try and get out Joey. And I just think if they want Andre gone, they need to make sure there's no one who can help Andre left in the game. Or at least in the voting pool. So they put up Kira, and that leaves Sully, Lynn, Lunar, Null, Vaughn, and Joey. 6 people as the voters. They only need 4 to get rid of Andre. Joey would vote Andre. I think Lynn Lunar would vote Andre. I think Sully would vote Andre. And Vaughn would help Aisha, that's a 5th. I think Null would just kind of go where the majority told him. So I think it'd be a 6-0, and Andre would be the final pre-juror of Rivals. This... I don't know about Ash and Andre. I do feel like the other 5 make sense. I think if I was just naming people and I wasn't concocting a whole storyline in my head, I think I would put Lunar in the pre-merge. And I think Null I'd swap those 2 for Andre and Ash. Because, I mean, Andre and Ash are 2 very good players. It's just with a cast like this, and I'm also creating totally hypothetical scenarios, so... This isn't a reflection on how I see any of you as game players. This is what I'm doing. So now we're at Final 9. Would this be touchy subjects, I wonder? I think now would be a fun time for touchy subjects, so I'm gonna do it now. I'm also gonna notate that on my thing, that the first true pilot would be touchy subjects. Also, you may have noticed the team phase was longer this season. I felt that worked better with the Rivals twist. So, we're top 9 touchy subjects. Finally, something Lynn can win. Well, no, Lynn could win a social comp. Let me not do that. We have touchy subjects. Sully and Lynn, I think, would be the contenders for this one. And I'm gonna give it to Sully. I really do honestly think that Sully would win this touchy subjects. I think Sully is good at being social, Sully knows the people. And in terms of losing... It's DJ or Null. I feel like they would have the least connections to the cast. And... oh. I said that Kira gets nominated. Who does she bodyguard? She can't pick Andre or DJ. Maybe she picks Sully. No, Lynn. I think she'd probably pick Lynn. Because I don't think she'd pick Null or Vaughn. She can't pick DJ. She's not going to pick Joey, so I'm just going to go with Lynn. Why not? You know, who cares? It's 12:44 a.m. I'm ready to go to bed. So I'm gonna say Null is going to lose, because at least DJ knows some of the people here. Null has no one left that he knows, and he can get to know them. I just don't see it for him. So Sully wins, Null loses. Who does Sully put up? Does Sully just put Kira back up on the block? It's tricky, because I think by now we're at Final 9. The quartet is still there. I think Sully would know, okay, something's got to be done about these people. But you may have noticed that I'm kind of setting Null up for the endgame GOAT storyline. So I think Sully would think, like, who do I put up that's gonna go out against Null? I mean, obviously they could put up Kira, because she's, you know, house target. You know, maybe people would want to get rid of her. I don't know. I could see it. I think it's very realistic for them to just put up Kira, because they can't put up Null as the safety nomination. I don't know. I mean, it definitely seems probable that Kira goes up, because they have no one else to target and they don't want to go against a quartet right now. Which I feel like in this scenario, it would be wiser to put up Lunar, because Lunar would go against Null. I'm gonna say Kira goes up and Kira gets voted out. I hate that. I hate that. But I think it's the safer move, and that's the move I think Sully is likely to take. Also, look at this goddamn final 8 I've concocted. 5 of them were from Superstars 1. We have the quartet still here. We have, and then we have Sully, Vaughn, and Null, who have never played with anyone else in that trio I just named. It's just such a weird final 8. So, continuing down, what happens this week? I don't know what the comp is. Let's just move past that. I think Lunar gets a win. I'm gonna say that this is when Lunar will get a win. And I'm gonna say Lyn will lose. I think we're at that stage of the game where Lyn starts to repeatedly land in the bottom. So, oh god, I said that like it's a normal routine. That was so horrible. So, Lyn's up. What does Lunar do? Does he try to keep Lyn, or does he cut his losses? Because by now, he can't profit off of the Rivals twist. He cannot get Inferno Pass off of her. So there's technically no incentive in getting rid of her. Sorry, my dryer, you probably all heard that. It scared the hell out of me. Does Lunar put up Sully? Because maybe Lunar thinks, okay, Sully can win the comps that I cannot win. So let me put them up and then get them out of here. So that way I can just go to the end with the others of the quartet. And, you know, Sully would be someone who is threatening enough that people would vote them out over Lyn. Especially like with Vaughn and DJ and Null. I think they might be more inclined to keep Lyn, especially because Lyn and Aisha are so close. So I'm going to say Sully goes up against Lyn, and I think this is where, well, let me look at the votes before I do that. Also, last round, Kira got nominated against Null. Kira... Is that when I say Kira? No. Right? I don't know. Who cares? I think Lyn would protect Aisha. She's not in danger with Lunar as a pilot. So I'm going to say Sully goes, and Sully gives their pilot a random pick. I'm going to say DJ. I don't know why. That feels right. Once again, I still feel like they're going to be BFFs. So now we're at Final 7. This is not meant to be offensive to Null, but like, look at this Final 7. It's 6 powerhouses of the franchise, and then Null. Like, I know that's so horrible to say, but like, objectively, one of these things is not like the other. So, don't know what the comp is, but it's not Cursed Bodies. So we have this comp here. Maybe this is when they go through the grid. to try and find where the icon is. Vaughn or Joey, I think. And then probably Lynn again, but I don't know. Because Lynn, when she flops, like, she's up against a really good cast, but with Null, he was middle of the road against a crappy cast. So it's like, what do I think is going to happen when Null is up against a very good cast? But I think maybe Null would be trying really hard, especially after landing in the bottom. Maybe they're worried that they're becoming a GOAT. So, hilariously, I'm going to give Lynn another bottom placement. Joey is the pilot. Now here's where it matters who Sully gave the bodyguard to. Because if Sully gave it to Aisha, she will probably protect herself because she knows Joey will probably strike around now. But if she gives it to DJ, he's probably going to protect, like, Vaughn or something. Or himself. Because I think if Lynn is up for elimination, Joey will nominate Aisha to break up that duo. I think he would draw the line in the sand. Wow, there's a lot of men in this final 7. Ugh. But I think Joey would put Aisha up against Lynn. So, would Sully give Aisha the bodyguard? I think it's possible. I think it's very likely. In fact, because I want to have some fun, it's 12:52 a.m., I'm going to say Sully gives the bodyguard to Aisha. And I think she blocks herself. I think she suspects a stunt. Well, I don't know. She could also get blindsided. Because maybe she thinks Joey is going to nominate Vaughn. Oh, now I have it. I'm going to say Aisha is worried that Joey is going to pull a stunt, so she blocks herself. In retaliation, Joey nominates Vaughn, and then Vaughn goes home. That is going to be my prediction. I think that is pretty likely, and it's fun to think about. So now I have a final 6. Oh dear God, this is not going to happen. 5 people from Superstars 1 and Null. That's not going to happen. I don't even think all 5 of them are going to make the merge, much less final 6. Now we have Cursed Bodies. Joey cannot play. But he's going to get nominated. I'm already telling you he's going to get nominated. And Vaughn would give Aisha the bodyguard. So who's going to win this? I'm going to say Lunar. I think Null is going to lose because Lynn is decent at jigsaws. I think when I'm looking at the 5 people, like, what would be the play here at Final 6? So Joey is the target because he just tried to snake out Aisha and Lynn, and in my vision, they both stay. So Lunar, does he throw Joey under the bus, or does he help Joey take out Lynn and Aisha? It could go either way. But I'm going to say Lunar tries to help take out Joey, because he knows he can beat Lynn and Aisha. But with Joey, depending on the comp, it could be a toss-up. So I'm going to say Lunar... Oh dear God, I'm about to give someone another win. Because I don't think Null's going to win. And I'm saying that Joey is the target this week. So that leaves 4 winners. Well, this is going to be a... It's going to be a not winning draft for me. So Lunar is going to win. Null will be last. Joey will be nominated. Who does Lunar nominate? I mean, I'm sorry. Who gets hexed into the cockpit? We have Aisha, DJ, Lynn, Lunar, Null making puzzles. Lynn and Aisha... It depends, because here's the thing. Lunar could go to them and say, I'm going to help you take out Joey. Don't make puzzles of me. Now, they may say, well, Lunar's probably going to win, so let's not even waste our votes on him. Let's give our votes to someone who will go up. I could see them doing DJ. Because maybe they want to put up the most threatening person, aside from themselves. Because they can't put up Joey. That's why I'm not mentioning him. They can't do it. They can't touch him. The pilot has to get Joey. And I'm just going to put Joey at 6, because that's where I'm headed anyways, and it's easier for me. So Lunar will win. Null will be last. Now, who do these 5 make puzzles of? Aisha Lynn probably will go DJ. They could go Null. I'm not going to say that's impossible. Because when you think about it, they may put Null because they want to guarantee that someone no one really wants to save is on the block. But that could backfire because they may keep Null because they all think they can beat him. But I could see Aisha really just wanting to work with DJ. So I'm gonna say the 2, Aisha and Lynn, go for Null. I think that's pretty likely. DJ and Lunar and Null, I don't think they would all work together. I think DJ would maybe be doing his own thing, maybe working with Joey. Maybe he tries to work with Null, and maybe they try to go for Aisha, because maybe they think, okay, well, she's bodyguarded, so even if Lunar wants to, he can't. So we'll try to go for Aisha, and then Lunar would do the tie-breaking puzzle. Well, I don't know, actually. Oh, wait, okay. I have something in mind. Aisha Lynn, do Null. DJ Lunar, do Aisha. And it doesn't matter who Null does. Null loses, so Aisha and Lynn's puzzles don't count. And then DJ and Lunar, maybe they go after Aisha because she's a threat, and then she's up for elimination. Yes, okay. So Aisha goes in because she has the majority of puzzles. Null goes in because he had the worst time. And then Joey gets nominated. I think Lunar would just try to just clear the board of threats. And I'm gonna say Aisha goes out. But I think Lynn tries to save her. Because, like I said, I think it's Aisha, Joey, and Null in the bottom for this. And I think Null gets saved by DJ. Yeah, DJ would save Null, Lynn would save Aisha, and then Lunar would cast the tie-breaking vote to save Null. That's my prediction. Oh, dear God, this is not a realistic Final Four whatsoever. I don't think Lunar's going to get this far, and Lynn, actually, I don't think any of these people are going to be in the top 4. Like, not even a matter of I don't think it's going to be this Final Four. I mean, I don't think any of these 4 people will be in the Final Four. Because this is my draft right here. This DJ, Lynn, Lunar, Null, that is my draft. So in terms of comps, does Lunar just win out? I think Lunar just wins out. Because I think he wins the final 4 comps, though, I will say, those are a bit more social. No, I'm going to go through it. Let me make sure. So part 1 is Night Fever, excuse me. If they're smart, they all gang up on Lunar to try and disadvantage him as much as possible. But I could see DJ and Lunar working together. Maybe they want to have a final 2 together, or maybe that's what they tell each other. So maybe DJ Lunar work together, and Lynn is like, no, come on, we gotta get something together. So maybe it's like a 2v2. I think that is more likely. I think DJ is more likely to be working with Lunar at this point than Lynn. And or Null. So I see that being the case. DJ Lunar versus Lynn and Null. DJ and Lunar are better at strategy, so I think one of them would win. And I'm gonna say DJ. So, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm tired. It's 1 a.m. and I'm biased towards him. But I think DJ would find a way, because I think Lynn and Null would be so focused on Lunar that they don't even pay attention to DJ. Or they don't think he's working with Lunar. I mean, they would know from the vote, but you know what I mean. So I'm gonna say DJ wins. He, I hope, would be smart enough to not pick Lunar. I think he would pick Null. Because I think Null would have more bottom placements by this point, and he's more likely to beat him. I mean, they're not going to know what type of comp it is, so I don't know. Because it's a bit of a social comp, too. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's just identifying what pit crews are layered over each other. It depends on who DJ picks. Because who would have more bottom placements by now? Like, Null bottomed for the puzzle. Lynn bottomed for other things. In the pre-merge, I had Null in the bottom more. That could be a factor. So I'm going to say DJ picks Null. And I'm going to say he leaves Lynn and Lunar to just go at it, because that'd be more of a... I think DJ would also want a fun end game, so I think he would want to pit them against each other. Because I think they would... I've created a rivalry for them in my head, which is very funny, given what I said 2 hours ago in this video. So this comp is about identifying the silhouettes against each other for the pit crews. I am gonna say Null would beat DJ. I think Null would like really try, and this is something I see him winning. So my hot take is Null is gonna beat DJ and advance to the final comp. Lynn versus Lunar. I'm gonna say Lunar wins. However, I think Lynn puts up a damn good fight. This is a comp I could see her winning. Really, honestly. Like, if Lynn makes it to the duels, and she wins her duel for this comp, I won't be surprised. That is absolutely something she'll win. But I think Lunar would. You know, I know I said I was worried about him maybe not being the most active. I think by now he would see, oh my god, I might actually win this thing. So I think he would try really hard. And I think he'd be successful. I think he would beat Lynn. So now I have Lunar and Null. And the final comp is about the jurors. Okay. Here's the thing, right? I think, if I'm being honest, I think Null is more likely to do good in this comp than Lunar is. Because Null gets the social game more than Lunar does, by comparison. However, when you look at the jury, there's Joey and Aisha. Lunar is more likely to get questions about those people right more than Null does. Because Null, I think, would be guessing. Lunar, for two of them, would have an educated guess. And for Sully and Kira, he at least knows of them, and he's probably had a good repertoire with Vaughn if they've been working together via, like, using Aisha as their conduit. So I think Lunar would win. Against Null specifically. If it was Lunar versus Lynn, I think Lynn would win. By a mile, I think she would win. Lynn is very good at social comps. I know I haven't made that apparent, but I think Lunar would win. Now here comes the tricky part. Does he take out Lynn here? He knows Lynn is coming for him. He probably would take out Lynn because he knows that the qualifier is coming up. And if he really thinks that DJ has a final two with him, I don't really see a world where he doesn't try to take DJ to the final two. Right? Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't think he would take Lynn, because Lynn would never want to vote him through, because she wants to win. And I think Noel, he probably thinks he can beat him, though I will say, if Noel does manage to beat DJ, Lunar could look at him sideways, and also Lunar may say, you know what, I've already won twice. I want to have fun, and I want an OG to win the season, so I'm going to take DJ and Lynn. Because he may say, you know, I can take all three of them in the comp, so whoever gets there gets there. It depends on how badly he wants it, but I think Lunar would be confident enough in his abilities to say, let's have a fun endgame, let's have an OG win this season. I think Lunar would try to set that up. Not in the same way DJ does it for the meme, but I just think he would really want that, because it could very well be his last season, and Lynn's last season, and DJ's last season. And if that's the final three, sure, Lunar could say, I'm gonna win. Let me bring Noel and Lynn, because DJ just comparatively probably has more wins than them at this point. But he also might think DJ will vote me through, and if I vote DJ through, Lynn has to pick one of us. I think he would chop Noel or Lynn, but I'm gonna say Noel, only because I think it's more interesting to have this final three, and I think Lunar would, even though he's been at odds with Lynn, there's really nothing she can do to him at this point. So I think he wouldn't really care, and I think just as a friend, he would want Lynn in that final three with him. So now we have the decider vote, DJ, Lynn, and Lunar. I think it depends on how bad DJ wants to win. Because what he could do is he could go to Lynn and Lunar and say, look, Lynn, we can't beat Lunar, so we have to vote for each other, because we can't just let him get to the end. We gotta try to take him out. And then he could go to Lunar and say, we've got a final two. Vote me through. But Lunar could go to Lynn and say, and you know, Lunar could go to DJ and do the final two thing, but he could go to Lynn and say, I want us to be the final two. I want one of us to win. You know, we're the OGs, like more than DJ. And if I'm going to lose to anyone, I'd rather lose to you. And it depends on what Lunar would... Well, no, it really depends on what Lynn would do. I mean, they could all just do a triangle vote, and then all three of them compete. That's very possible. But... I'm trying to think, like, what would DJ do? Would he... Here's the thing, DJ could very well say, I want Lunar to win because I want him to be the first 3-time winner, but I could also see him not wanting that because he wants to be the first 3-time winner if he plays for a 3rd time, or again, whatever. So I'm gonna say that's more likely. I'm gonna say he heel turns and says, Lynn, I know I've been working with Lunar. He has 2 wins, we both have 1 win. Let's make it so that at least one of us is guaranteed final 2, and the other has to take him down. I mean, I don't think either of them are going to beat him, but it could happen. And I am going to say... Because, okay, here's the thing. I just said that Lunar would keep Lynn on the basis of I want an OG to win, so why wouldn't he just vote her through? But I could see him voting DJ through if he suspects a stunt, like they go to him and say, we're not voting you, we're not stupid. So Lunar will say, well, I gotta beat one of them in this comp, and he might feel more confident about beating Lynn, so he might vote her through. Or, I'm sorry, he might vote DJ through, and then take on Lynn. think I'm gonna go with that. I think that's a little more realistic. I know I just said that, you know, maybe Lunar chops Null because he tells Lyn, I want us to be the final two. But I could also maybe just see him saying, I want one of us three to win. And that final three, he's like, okay, Lyn, you and I are going to do the qualifier. And this is how we're going to end our journeys here at the Gauntlet, where it's going to be one of us, and then whoever wins goes to face DJ in the finals. Now, I know I've been dogging on Lyn's ability to win a comp because it applies. With Lunar, I believe on Season 13, he won his season's qualifier. On Superstars... Did Lyn win that too? No, she did not. She didn't even make it. I'm probably going to say Lunar wins, so I'm going to put Lyn in third. I'm just going to put these two up here in alphabetical order and then decide on it there. So I think DJ and Lunar, that's who I have as the final two. I don't think that's realistic, but the point of this video is to talk. You know, it's just fun to imagine what the season could be. So, who does the jury vote for? My thinking, right? This could easily be another bitter Superstars jury, but I think it would be a bit sentimental. I think everyone would be really excited for them to see DJ and Lunar. At least Lyn and Aisha would. Well, Joey would too, excuse me. Vaughn, Null, Sully, Kira... I don't know about that. So, let me think. In my world, I don't think DJ has a pilot. Lunar probably has like 2 or 3. So he's got the comp aspect. But I said that this cast reminded me of a Superstars cast. And in both instances, the person with the most wins, comp wins, got swept in the jury vote. Well, not Superstars 1, Violet got 0 votes to win. It was 4-3-0. Or 5-4-0, whatever. Yeah, I think it was 5-4-0. What, you all know what I mean. And then, when Superstars 2, I think it was either 6-1 or 7-0 for Sully. So that now raises the question. Because I said that this reminded me of a Superstars cast, will they vote like a Superstars cast? Will Lunar have burned the jury? I don't think so. With Violet and Pew on Superstars, both of them were very cocky. They were very, haha, I beat you, take that, take that. I don't think DJ would be like that, and I don't think Lunar would be like that. Lunar just isn't that type of person. Even when taking out Joey, he would be pretty respectful about it. I mean, he would, you know, throw some shade. He'd be like, you know what, I got you before you got me, and that's all that matters. But I don't think he'd be shitty about it, like how Violet and Pew were. And I think the jury would respect him enough, being a double winner, making it this far, that I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm predicting Lunar getting a triple crown. Now, let me make something clear. In my heart of hearts, this is not who I think is going to win. I just don't. If I had to be honest, I think Kira has a very good shot. Like, so this is what I'm going to do for the draft, because that's just my tradition. So my draft is Lunar, DJ, Lyn, Null. But if I just like picked a top 4 without going through all this hubbub, I'd probably put Kira as my winner, Null as my runner-up. Third places are usually good players who just kind of don't have the wherewithal to try. So I probably would maybe put DJ in third. And then in fourth would be a big player. So Maybe Ash or Sully. So, okay. This is my official prediction, but if I had to make just a random prediction, just putting people wherever and not caring about logic, I'd probably say Kira winner, Null runner-up, DJ third, Ash or Sully fourth. That's like my just picking people prediction. Because Lunar getting a third win is so improbable, not because he's bad, but because he's too good. No idiot would let him get that far. And if in a month I find out that y'all let him get that far, even up to here in this tier, top 6 or above, stupid. Everyone's stupid. And same with Joey. Aisha, DJ, and Lynn, they're good, but you're not stupid for letting them get that far. Joey and Lunar, morons. Morons letting them get that far. But then again, I think of that with a lot of the guys, like Vaughn, he's too good at comps. What idiot lets him go far? Ash Andre, strategic beasts. Andre is a comp beast. Sully, I mean... Man, I don't even like having Sully that low, because it doesn't feel right. But this is what I've got. So this is my official prediction. I'm not going to make a promise for a merge prediction when we get there. My hope is that I do that, because I think it would be fun to, you know, get an update now that I have game information. But yeah, I think this is just an incredible cast, and I'm very thankful to everyone who said yes, because this was very hard, and I hope no one suspected it. I think some of you probably thought about it, but I haven't seen anyone be like, oh, this is Rivals. This is definitely Rivals you're doing. Like, even the people who know that there's a theme to the season, they've not expressed to me that they think the theme's Rivals. Like, they know it's a theme, they don't know what it is. And I've been trying to drop hints that it's heroes versus villains. I don't know if anyone's picked up on it, so it's probably not even worth it. I've also been trying to point to it being a Battle of the Eras season, but tomorrow morning, I guess technically today, because it's 1 a.m., I'm gonna do like list all the potential themes, and then have everyone vote on which one they think it's going to be. I wanted to do it a couple days ago, but I thought if I even made it seem possible that I was doing Rivals, everyone would clock it immediately. Because I was very persistent about being like, I need to have you on this season. If I was doing a general Battle of the Eras, Heroes versus Villains theme, I wouldn't need specific people. I would just say I really want you there. But like Nova, for example, I really was like, I really want you there. You would be a good addition to the cast. Like, she would clock it, I think. I don't know. She's kind of dumb. And I can say that because Nova and I have that repertoire between us. That's just playful shade. Like, I think Yezo would clock it, even though I think she's... Ugh. I think Ash, Kira, and Aisha would immediately be like, yup, okay, it's Rivals. There's no way it's not Rivals. I think Joey would immediately begin to get suspicious. I think Lynn would as well. I think DJ would maybe think it, but I don't think in a million years he would guess Cass. I think he would guess Bolivia, which is what I wanted before Bolivia signed on and won Season 24. Oh my god, people. You know what? I'll save that for the All-Stars 6 prediction video. But, guys, we live in a world where Zayden, Bolivia, and Maddie all got crowns. Technically not in a row, but, like, that's 3 of my favorites right there, getting crowns. And as much as I would love Lunar to be the first 3-time winner, I would really like someone else to get a crown this season, maybe someone who does not have one. So Null, Joey, Vaughn, Kira, Nova, Yeza, Chris, and Cass. But if I had to pick one of those people, it would be Joey. I think he's... maybe the best to never win. I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to tell me what you think, but I think Joey has incredible. If he's not the best to never win, he's second best to never win. Because Nikki, that's my top two, best to never win. It'd be one of those two people. So that's a prediction video, and I can't wait to go to bed. Prissy Kissness America.